area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Deer-owned Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Deer-owned Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Deer-owned Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Deer-owned Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly.
When your home fills up with family, Aloe Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Aloe Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Landmark Implement helps you put dirt in its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark Implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel is the answer to all your lunch and dinner cravings. They have everything from smoked turkey sandwiches to brisket burritos to burnt-in sandwiches and pulled pork. Try a dinner plate option of barbecue nachos, a half-smoked chicken, a full slab of ribs, and so much more. Don't forget their great sides like mac and cheese, cheesy potatoes, barbecue beans, or red slaw. Mulberry Barbecue by Single Barrel, open Monday to Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Starter Heyman Jewelers. My grandpa Don always made sure that our diamonds are the most exceptional you could find in the world. That's why we're introducing our exclusive Heartland Diamond Collection. If you're ready to add some sparkle to your life that you can see from across the room, the Heartland Diamond is for you. Stop in to Starter Heyman to see for yourself. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
Welcome into the locker room, the most sacred of spaces in sports.
talking you through the behind-the-scenes conversations that happen behind closed doors with former Nebraska football tight end Chancellor Brewington.
Chancellor Brewington, the 6-year senior tight end, finding his way into the end zone.
And former South Dakota State running back and Nebraska football assistant Mikey Daniel.
Hand off to Daniel inside the 2 to the 1, and he powers his way into the end zone for a South Dakota State touchdown.
This is The Locker Room, brought to you by Ep Foundation Repair. Here are your hosts, Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel.
Mikey is out today, but Chancellor Brewington is in for the locker room on 93.7 The Ticket. Chancellor, I'll send it to you. What do we have going for today?
Yeah, I definitely want to get into this Big Ten schedule and Big Ten rankings, and a lot of movement happened in the Big Ten. You had obviously Washington beats Michigan. You had USC losing to Minnesota. Now Minnesota is back-to-back weeks with the top 25 opponent in Michigan 2 weeks ago, and this past week USC. You know, is Minnesota slowly rising, or is this, you know, Big Ten conference slowly having, you know, there's a shift happening, and I want to go through it, and I have to. We didn't really talk about these scores in depth yet. I want to go back and highlight some of these scores and talk about these games and talk about how the Big Ten landscape is moving forward, because when you go back and look at the Big Ten, you know, obviously Ohio State has had some runs. Michigan is good as of recent. Obviously, they're on the downfall right now. They had about 3 or 4 years. Michigan State even had a year in there. Wisconsin had some years. Iowa, you know, every now and then creeps up there, right? But what we're seeing is now, you know, obviously Michigan, I believe, is not going to lead the Big Ten, right? And so this Ohio State team, I believe, is the front runner. Right? They go and play Oregon, okay? They go and play Oregon. Ohio State's number 2. Oregon is number 3. Now, has Ohio State really played anyone? I think this is the question that people need to ask, and I'm asking it right now. I mean, you go and play Akron. You beat them comfortably, right? You go play Western Michigan, you beat them comfortably. Marshall, beat them comfortably. Michigan State. Now Michigan State and Iowa, I would say Iowa is a better football team. Still, Iowa has no offense. You know, it's the same old story every year. Good defense, no offense. You watch Michigan State on offense, pretty sporadic. I believe Michigan State's quarterback has already thrown 12 picks, Buck. I mean, you want to score touchdowns, Buck. You don't want to throw picks. You want to have 12 touchdown passes. You don't want to have 12 picks. So that is that story. Then they go and play at Oregon this week. And to be completely honest, I know we do picks on Friday, but hey, you know, why not? Why not? I'm going to do my pick right now. I have Oregon beating Ohio State at Oregon. I don't know what it is. So at the beginning of the year, Oregon goes and plays Idaho, I believe. And so it's a tight game. You know, it's like, I believe it was like 10-7 at halftime. Idaho was winning at one point. And then they go and play Boise State, and they go play Ashton Genty. That's kind of an asterisk. When you see that Boise State, you're like, how did they go 37 to 34 with Boise State? Well, Boise State has the best player in the country. So you kind of have to add in a little grain of salt there. And then, of course, you know, they go and play at Oregon State and go and kill them 49-14. UCLA, same story. Michigan State, same story. So now Oregon really hasn't played anyone as well. They played good talent in Ashton Genty. They played, I would say obviously because Ohio State and Oregon both played Michigan State. I think really this Michigan State team and Oregon State, if those teams played, Oregon State and Michigan State, I probably take Oregon State to win that. So I would say Oregon State probably the best team that Oregon's played. Still, really, no star-studded talent. Depth-wise, not a whole bunch going on. But for some reason, I got this Oregon team. I wanted to see Oregon. I wanted to see Oregon run the football. That was one thing I want to see. I want to see how they can run the football against Michigan State. They came out and ran the football very effectively. and it gives me hope moving into Big Ten play because first of all, Ohio State has a really good offense. Obviously, you got Jeremiah Smith. You got who's a quarterback? McCord or Howard? Will Howard.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking McCord, not Will Howard. So you got some weapons. Like they have a great running back. They run the football, throw the football, good defense. It's gonna be a good matchup. But I think the winner of this will kind of because I mean you look at the rest of Oregon's schedule. They go play Ohio State, and then the next, they go play Illinois. Um, they go play Washington. They play Michigan, but this is definitely going to be Oregon's biggest test. And Ohio State down the road, they're going to play Penn State and Michigan and Indiana. Okay, depending on where Indiana is, second to last week of the season, and then they go play Michigan, of course. And that kind of brings me into my next point is this Michigan team. The battle between Michigan and Ohio State, everyone is calling for Ryan Day's head because he doesn't beat Michigan consistently. And now it's kind of this downfall season with Michigan not being, they're going to be, if not already, they're going to be outside the top 25. I believe they are right out. They're like 23 or 24 right now. So if you look at that, I mean, if Ryan Day and Ohio State goes and beat Michigan last game of the year, right? I forget the name of the game, but in this, intense rivalry, what happens to Ryan Day? Because that game really doesn't count now. I feel like the game that counts now is the Oregon one. It's this Oregon one coming up. So if Ryan Day gets it done against Oregon, I think you have to keep him if there is some questions, whatever. But if he loses this to Oregon and wins the Michigan one, it's like, okay, which one do you value more? Because Oregon is probably going to go if they go and handle Ohio State. If Oregon wins that, they're probably going to win the conference, in my opinion. Because Ohio State, I would say, is towers better than Penn State, and Penn State's a good team to talk about as well. They're number 4 in the country right now. So you got the Big Ten now has number 2, number 3, and number 4. And I believe the next one outside of that is Indiana sitting at 18. And then you have Illinois at 23. And I believe Michigan at 24. So, I mean, the Big Ten has teams in the top 25. And people are going to see slowly did I say Indiana 18? I don't think I did. Okay. But we're going to see slowly which teams in the Big Ten are really a top 25 team because obviously you have the pre-ranking stuff, slates in so much. Obviously Oregon already starting off, top 10. Ohio State start off like top 6, I believe. And Penn State already starting off top 12. If USC goes and gets it done against Penn State, the whole conference is going to flip upside down because now you got Penn State with a loss. And now SC is going to come back into ranking, and you're like, what is going on? And even like this Wisconsin team, like they just went on a tear last week. And who they played? They played Wisconsin went and whooped on Purdue, right? And so let's say Wisconsin gets it done against Rutgers, right? And then they go on a tear. Like this is these next like 2 to 3 weeks are so crucial in the Big Ten because the powers that you think are going to be at the top, somebody slips off, and then the ones that are like just like waiting for a loophole, like a team like Indiana, like a Nebraska, like a team like USC or Penn State or Illinois, guys that are just waiting on the outside. Then all of a sudden you get a Northwestern team 10-1 that one year, right? Or whatever it was. They go and lose like 2 games and win the Big Ten, right? I believe that was it COVID year?
There's a few years they were like either 3-9 or 9-3.
Yeah, no, like, and so I feel like those type of things happen in the middle of these years, and there's gonna be some good games. This Washington Iowa game is gonna be interesting because you're Washington, you just beat on Michigan, right? You had a close one with Rutgers, probably should have won that game. You go and play Michigan, you get it done against them. You got to be feeling like you're just soaring. You got to be soaring after that game. I was still the favorite. I don't completely understand that logic, how Iowa would be the favorite there. And Rutgers is only a 2.5 favorite over Wisconsin. That don't make a whole bunch of sense. I'm not going to do my picks yet, but I just want to read off some of these some of these favorites right now. You got Penn State only a 4-point favorite over USC, and I think these things will kind of slowly gap out a little bit. Once we get a little bit closer, maybe on Friday, they usually start to gap out a little bit. You got Illinois 23 over Purdue. I get that one. Purdue, I would say probably is the worst team in the Big Ten this year, and it's sad to see, man. I like when Purdue's a decent team, man. Shout out Drew Brees, man. I like when Purdue's a decent team. You got obviously the Oregon Ohio State. They have Ohio State a 3-point favorite. I put on my YouTube, I said, what do you think about this Ohio State and Oregon team? And a lot of people were saying Oregon. And I was on the same logic. Maybe it was because they just heard me say Oregon, but I'm watching this just the landscape of college football. And I think it would be better for college football if Oregon wins this game. And we heard what Donovan Edwards versus Michigan in the post game. He said Vegas made me slip, right? And like all these different stuff. So I'm really not saying Vegas is whatever, but what I am saying is that I think it would be better for college football if Oregon wins this game. It's going to be on NBC. It's going to be a nighttime game. Everyone and their mom are going to be watching it. Indiana has a bye game, so all the Nebraska team should be required to watch it. I would require everyone to watch it as a team, actually, just to pick it up because, as Nebraska, Indiana has a bye week too, right? So there's no real film you can watch this week on Indiana. You can obviously go back, but anything current, it doesn't make sense to watch anything right now. I would be watching Ohio State. I'd be watching ahead just to have it a live sense because you can feel momentum shifts. You can feel like the TV copies of games just hits different. You can see kind of sideline procedure. You can see, the tempo. You can see different things than if you just watch standard film because in standard film, all you get is, when the play clock hits, 24 or whatever, you get that whole play from the end zone angle to the, top tier angle above the 50s. Like you get those type of angles. But watching the game copy, it gives you a whole different sense of the ball game because, if you watch the Washington Rutgers game on film, it's like, dang, Rutgers seemed like they had this game the whole time. But when you go watch the game copy, you're like, oh, dang, like, Washington blocked this kick. They, this, and this. There was a swing here, momentum shift. So you just want to watch those type of things, especially if you're Nebraska. And I thought this Rutgers game for Nebraska was the biggest game of the year, in a couple senses. So if you go and lose this Rutgers game, if you're Nebraska, which thank God they didn't, thank God they didn't. If you go and lose this game, then you go and lose. I would say then it kind of carries over into a bye week, and you probably drop the one to Indiana. Right. And if you drop the one to Indiana, you're for sure going to drop the one to Ohio State. And then you kind of, if you can scrap out 3 wins or 4 wins at the end with UCLA, SC, Wisconsin, and Iowa, tip your hat off to them. But for the most part, that's the one you wanted. And you really want this Indiana one. This is the one you really want. Now this is I'm going to keep saying it. Now this is the new biggest game of the year because you get this done against Indiana. Now you're on a cloud floating because you're 3-0 in the past 3 weeks. You just beat I would say Rutgers is a top 27, top 28 team at the time when you played them. You're going to beat a top 18 team. I don't know if Indiana will drop anymore. There's a lot of shifting that would probably happen in top 25 list. And now then the Ohio State games becomes a way bigger talk. It becomes a, College Game Day is probably going to be there. Saban and all them boys, Mark Ingram. I don't know who the guest is. I always get his name wrong. Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee's going to be there, and I hope he stands up on the table and says Nebraska because that's who I got. But that's what you want. You want momentum. It's a game of momentum. You have a bye week split dead in the middle. You have a bye week at weeks going into, week 7? Going into week 7. So you done split the 6 games behind and the 6 game forward. And that's what you want. You want guys to come in fresh, but you want momentum. And that's what Nebraska built with these last 2 games.
Great stuff for the first segment here in the locker room. We'll be back with more from Chancellor Brewington in the locker room on 93.7 The Ticket.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Landmark Implement helps you put dirt in its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark Implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies with a light south breeze. An afternoon high around 88. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low around 61. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds. And an afternoon high around 87. I'm meteorologist Kyle Puckett from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When your home fills up with family, Aloe Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Aloe Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Aloe at 866-481-2556 or visit aloefiber.com.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Dear Old Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Dear Old Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe. On the block with Strick and Austin.
Nebraska football banked 3 wins early. It had to do that. Seeing the win against Purdue, seeing the win against Northern Iowa, even Colorado, I feel like, at least for me, the wins have been secondary. I've been trying to nitpick, they have to do this better, they have to do this better. Nick, I'm going to spot now with both the Royals, helping me see with the Huskers, we got to learn to love these teams for who they are. The bar has changed.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by App Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here in the locker room on 93.7 The Ticket for the second segment today. And Chancellor, I'll let you get going here in a second, but I did want to ask you, because you said something that I thought piqued my interest there. You said you would make it almost mandatory to watch the Oregon-Ohio State game for the Nebraska football team. Has that ever been a thing that you've been a part of, where the coaches told you pretty much everybody, we got to watch one of these games?
I've been in group chats with position coaches where I would have to kind of send verbal or actual physical evidence of me watching a game during a bye week. So let's say, we go and beat Northwestern, and then we have a bye week, and then we go and play, Michigan or whoever it is next, or Michigan State. And Michigan State's playing, Rutgers at the time. I would have he would say hey, enjoy your bye week or enjoy your time off, but I'm requiring everyone to watch this game live. And then I want you to we're going to talk about it on Sunday or Monday. And so and that's just being a pro at the end of the day. Those are the type of things you should do second, firsthand. You shouldn't have to nobody should have to tell you to watch this game. That's an advantage at the end of the day. That's an advantage. And I know the guys are going to take full advantage of it. And that's the cool thing about this team. What I'm seeing is that you got the squads Death Row, the D-line and, the receivers and the DBs. It seems like everyone's a tight-knit group. And being a tight-knit group, you can do things outside of football. So I would imagine that during the bye week, maybe the guys that are in town, maybe they come over to a coach's house and watch the game. Maybe they, go out to eat and watch the game. Maybe they go to a friend's house and watch the game, something like that. But yeah, definitely have had scenarios where it was mandatory, but not mandatory to watch these games.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I guess it makes a lot of sense. I just had never heard it phrased that way.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of leads me into my next point, is kind of this coaching staff and what's going to happen moving forward. Because obviously, I've heard talks about the Tony White situation, and that's super interesting, because I've heard not only local people talk about it, even here on the station, but I've also heard national media and national, I would say other coaches cover it too. Even Urban Meyer has hit it on it, and it's what are you going to do if you're Tony White, and what are you going to do if you're Nebraska? Because the rate of this defense, let's say they go out against Indiana next week and they just completely demolish Indiana, right? It's a 24-7 ball game, right? And in Nebraska holds Kyle Rourke to 220 yards or something like that, right? Then all of a sudden it's a whole nother conversation. You're okay, this dude is legit. And then you go hold Ohio State under 17 points or something like that, right? Now it's he has to be the highest paid DC in the nation, if not one or two. I don't know what the hit. I believe his salary is around $1 million right now.
It's at 1.6 now. After last year, it got a little bit of a
Okay, so 1.6. Now he goes and I think defense finished what, like 11 or 12 last year, I believe, somewhere around there, maybe 13. Now they go and finish. If you have a good game against Indiana, let's say Ohio State doesn't get too far, it gets within, they score within 21 points, right? And they go and finish out the year, handle SC, handle Wisconsin, UCLA, and Iowa. Like now it's a whole different conversation because Tony White's gonna get jobs from everywhere. I mean, every program that's thinking of hey, we need a new head coach, we need a new this, we need a new that. Tony White's gonna be one of the names that's thrown around there. And it's not only a thing where he's a defensive mind, but you can tell he's a good leader. Like, so sometimes you have like those coaches who, and I've heard it from a lot of the players, that like Tony White like is a great, like the way he commands meetings as a unit, defensive meetings, like he's a good orator. He speaks well. That's one of the qualities of a good head coach. You can see that consistently through like Coach Rule and Saban and all these coaches down the line. The Whittinghams, the Dabo Sweeneys, the trying to think of anyone else like Lincoln Riley. Like they're able to communicate and express like what they're thinking clearly. And you can see that with Tony White. Like I've heard from a lot of the players and a lot of just people in the organization that he's one of like the smartest defensive minds. Like I have a buddy who coaches JUCO, and he was like, yeah, like if I could learn under Tony White, like that would be like, that's like the cream of the crop, right? That's like the upper echelon of college football. So if you have that on your staff, you got to find a way to retain him. You got to find a way to throw him something that makes sense for him, because it's not only you got to throw him something that makes sense for him, but at the end of the day, you got to throw something that makes sense for Nebraska, right? And honestly, this 3-3-5, the success of it and the difficulty to expose it, the difficulty to move yards against it is evident. So you got to find a way. And then kind of brings me to my next point is like, let's go. If during this Indiana game, if we have special teams problems, what happens? If there's even a slightly close block punt during this Indiana game, or kickoff return, or kickoff coverage, or punt coverage, or punt return, whatever it is, I think you have to either okay, maybe you stick this season out, but there has to be a change. I think there has to be a change. I mean, it's coming down to a communication thing, because if you watch the Brian Buschini block punts, it was like Brian was on one page and the shield was on another, meaning the shield, the two or three guys that are protecting Brian at the second level. And then the adjustment to not bring the gunners in after the first block punt, because they technically had 3 block punts. One was tipped, right? And then they had 2 that were like knocked behind the line of scrimmage, right? So you gotta find some type of congruency with the special teams, because you look at all the good teams, you look at even Oregon, you look at Ohio State, even the Michigan of last year and the year before, even like this Rutgers team too. They all play really good special teams. And so let's say, Rilo does throw a pick, or let's say, we do fumble, or we do go 3 and out, or we do, have a bad drive of, what do we go, Purdue 0-8 in the first quarter on 3rd down. You do those type of bad stuff. Well, you always have a safety net with special teams where you can flip the field fast, where you can take advantage of yards. You got a good return game. You can do all these different things to soften or lower the margin of error for the whole totality of the game. But yeah, this Nebraska team has some decisions to make. I want to keep going on some of these top 10 games or top 25 games. This Penn State USC game, I'm conflicted on it. You got Penn State -4 favorite. I don't know. Maybe USC lights a fire. We're gonna really see where Penn State is at. Penn State really ain't played no one. I'm trying to tell everyone, Penn State really ain't played anyone. They played Illinois, and it was a tough game. It was a tough game. Illinois made some mistakes. It really should have been like a 10-7 ball game at halftime. Ends up Illinois doesn't score after, I believe, the first quarter, or I believe it was second quarter. And what's his face? Altmaier ends up throwing like a dumb pick. They end up fumbling, things like that. But I think I got USC getting it done. I got USC getting it done. I know I wasn't supposed to do picks. I'm doing picks without Mikey. I'm sorry. After his disrespectful segment that caught fire already. Arizona, BYU. I'm really high on this BYU team. I think if there's a team where you're like, there's a team that could possibly get into this top 10, a sleeper, on this getting into the top 6, top 7, because they're 15 right now. They've beat everyone pretty comfortably. Even this Baylor game. I mean, Baylor, had a chance to come back. They go and play Arizona, Oklahoma State. That's a decent football team. UCF, Utah is really their only test the rest of the year. And so if there's a team, I don't know if there's betting odds where you can bet a team could make it into college playoffs like midway through the year. But I think BYU would be an interesting team because I mean, that'd be crazy if we have BYU making the college football playoffs, Bach.
Yeah, I'd be down for it. I mean, the Big 12 is especially wide open right now. I mean, Iowa State, I know you haven't mentioned this game yet, but Iowa State, West Virginia's, I think, about just as interesting to see if Iowa State is actually a top 11 team.
Oh my gosh, they're undefeated.
Yeah.
What the heck? I didn't even know that. They go and play Iowa was their biggest game so far. That was a nail biter to the end. And then they go and beat Baylor. Okay. Dang. Man, so I mean, they don't really play anyone the rest of the year. They go and play Texas Tech, not very good this year. Kansas has a fall off. You're probably anticipating Kansas to be a good team when you're making the schedule. Cincy, not a very good team. Utah and Kansas State. Kansas State still has some struggles this year. That's gonna be an interesting game because mess around in West Virginia, beat Iowa State. Everything about to get flipped. I mean, this is just the weirdest year of college football because you have these huge conferences. You got, I think Big 10 is like 18 teams. Big 12 is, almost 20 teams right now. You got a couple Pac-12 teams, and then obviously you got the Mountain West, ACC. You add in Cal, you add in a lot of Pac-12 teams. You add in who else is in the ACC that is different. I believe I'm looking it up right now. It's
Stanford and SMU got in.
SMU, that's the team. Yeah, and SMU, I mean, they just went and beat Louisville last week. I mean, even that's a whole it just flips everything upside down. You want to see how Georgia responds from the Bama game, of course. This Tennessee team lost. This Tennessee team lost last week, I believe, to who was it? Arkansas.
Yep.
Arkansas. Now they're number 8. Now they go and play 3-2 Florida team. In an SEC conference game, 5 p.m. on ESPN. Even like this Ole Miss LSU game is going to be interesting because LSU, from what I mean, just off of the eye test, they really ain't played anyone. The only team they played so far is SC, and they lost that one. And then obviously, what's his face? Ole Miss, they just coming off a loss to Kentucky, and like Kentucky goes in 14-13 Georgia, and then they go and beat Kentucky. I mean, then they go and beat Ole Miss, and this Kentucky team is like, I don't know what's going on with this Kentucky team, because if you look at the schedule, they go and lose to South Carolina, they lose to Georgia in a 13-12 game, my bad, and then Ohio, they go and wax them, and then Ole Miss, they go and beat them, and now they go play Vanderbilt. It's like, it's going to be this whole thing. Obviously Vanderbilt, that whole story with beating Bama, it comes down to, okay, was that just a one-game fluke, or is they going to be able to capitalize on it? And I think they showed that Bama, like, nobody's scared of Bama anymore. Like the days of the Reuben Fosters and the who else? Who was it? Quinn Williams and those days, like it's kind of over with. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying over with. I'm just saying like how you feared Bama. Like I remember being in college, like my freshman year at a FCS school, and I'm like, man, Bama is like, if you play Bama, like I remember talking to someone who played Bama. I'm like, you play Bama, bro? You play Bama? Like that's like different. That's like an NFL team, even though it's not, right? They would get waxed by an NFL team, but like the 2017 Bama teams that are competing against Clemson, like those days are over. Those days are over. The Tua Tagovailoa days, like those days are over. Even I would say the late Mac Jones days are over too. But there's definitely a shift happening in college football. One of the weirdest college football years I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And good timing, too, because it's going to be crazy for the playoffs. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll round things out in the locker room on 93.7 The Ticket with Chancellor Brewington coming up next.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. Nebraska families and business owners need lower taxes, more affordable health care, and a great education system. That is why I fought for the largest tax cut in Nebraska history, reduce the cost of health care, and help pass the biggest investment in our public schools. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th, paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
Hey guys, it's Nick. You know how much I love beer, and this game day, show your Husker pride with Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of the Nebraska Alumni Association. Brewed by Nebraska fans, for Nebraska fans, Dear Old Nebraska Brew is your go-to for every kickoff, touchdown, and celebration. Whether it's tailgating, watching the game at home, or gathering with friends, this beer is there to bring that perfect game day refreshment. Dear Old Nebraska Brew embodies the spirit of Nebraska with every sip. So crack one open and let the good times roll. Dear Old Nebraska Brew, the official beer of Nebraska alumni. Please drink responsibly.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
It's hard to choose a favorite at Hog Wild, but I'd have to say it's their award-winning ribs. Hog Wild buys their meat from those who share their high-quality standards, then hand rubs each slab with their famous seasoning blend and slow smokes them over hickory each and every day for flavor and tenderness you're gonna keep coming back for. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Hi, this is State Senator Carolyn Bosden. As a state senator, wife, and mom, I believe Nebraska is a great place to work and raise a family. My husband Reggie and I are local family business owners and proud to be involved in our community. Property tax relief is important to every family. Last year, I voted for the largest property tax relief package in Nebraska history, and I will continue to advocate for property tax relief. Vote Carolyn Bosden on November 5th, paid for by Bosden for Legislature.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Early break.
Anthony in the mailbag says, good morning, guys. Question for the mailbag. If you were trapped in a 10 foot by 10 foot concrete room with one animal, what is the largest animal you could kill with nothing but your bare hands?
I'd like to think I could whip an ostrich.
Get a hold of his neck. He's going to whip him around. He's going to whip him around.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by F Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just time for one final segment here in the locker room on 93.7 The Ticket. Chancellor Brewington in studio. Chancellor, do you think that you could, in fact, take on an ostrich?
That is crazy. I've never heard that. An ostrich? I don't know, bro. An ostrich? No weapon?
No weapon. Bare hands.
Bare hands.
Sip thinks he could do it.
I could figure it out. I could definitely figure it out. That is a hilarious question. We need to start doing some questions like that. But I want to talk about, so we're halfway through Nebraska season. Okay. I want to do this mid-season prediction list where we kind of go through Nebraska's schedule. We kind of see, okay, where are we at right now? We kind of reflect it. Just, we only got a few more minutes, but we reflect, how the season has been, what we should expect from Nebraska moving forward. Because honestly, if we're being honest right now, we should be 6-0. We should be undefeated. But I think the biggest thing for Nebraska fans is first to acknowledge that we are 5-1. This isn't going to be a 3-9 season. It's impossible, in fact, for it to be a 3-9 season. There's I believe there's a 0% probability of us losing every game this year and not going bowling. So, first time bowling since what, 2016, 2017?
Yeah,
2016. Yeah. So, looking at the schedule, obviously, you want to see some bigger gaps. You want to see the Purdue game a little bigger. You want to see the Colorado game a little bigger. You want to see Northern Iowa, but at the end of the day, those are all W's. Moving forward, let's go a 0-0 clean slate schedule. If we were just to play this back half of the year, you got Indiana, Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, and Iowa coming up. What are we going through those 6 games, Bach?
Well, again, I think if you look at it as far as like who's favored right now, I think you only got 2 home games left, and
Right.
you're favored in those 2 home games, which would be UCLA and Wisconsin. Wisconsin looks like it's got a little bit more bark to it than what we maybe thought before last week, at least, beating down Purdue. So that could be interesting. But on the flip side, you look at those road games. USC, we mentioned if they lose to Penn State, I mean, they're going downhill quickly.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of frustrated people in Los Angeles. So that game could be a little bit easier. I think that there should be an expectation to win 2, to at least get to 7. And then if you can get to 8, I know a lot of people, I mean, we'd be throwing confetti if you can get to 8. I think.
I love it. So you're saying a 3-3 finish.
Yeah.
3-3, Bach. So your 3 losses are, dang. So you're saying they lose to Indiana?
I think that right now I would probably favor Indiana.
Oh my gosh, Bach. What is up with this guy?
Jeez,
Bach.
We'll see how it goes next week.
Okay, so you got lost Indiana, lost Ohio State, lost SC or Iowa or Wisconsin. Which one?
I would probably go at this point, and that's the other thing is you've just got these clouds hanging over our head, or this curse hanging over our head of, I've picked Nebraska against Wisconsin and Iowa before, and it hasn't worked for like the last 20 games between the two of them. So, I would want to predict a win over Iowa, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be a tough one. So, okay, so he goes 3-3. I say we dub Indiana. I think we dropped the Ohio State game, but I think it's really close. I think it's like a 17-24 ball game, goes down to the wire. I think maybe even a little bit more, probably like 21-24, goes down to the wire though. I think the Blackshirts come out and play and really put a statement game, or maybe it's like a 17-20 game. I think, yeah, I think I'm just so optimistic, bro, on this team right now. But I think we get it done against Indiana. I think we drop the Ohio State game. I think we beat UCLA. I believe we beat USC, because if you look at USC's schedule coming up, they have a rough 4-game stretch before Nebraska. They go Penn State, home against Penn State, at Maryland. Then they go home versus Rutgers and at Washington. So they have their work cut out for them in these next 4 weeks. They're going to be beat up. I don't believe there's a bye week in there. They're going to be beat up. So I think we get this USC game. I think we win it. And I think we beat Wisconsin and we beat Iowa. And we go to finish the year off, we go 10-2. That's my prediction.
Hey, I'd take that.
So what happens around Lincoln, Nebraska if the Cornhuskers are a 10-2 football team? And if you're 10-2, hold on, Bach. If you're 10-2, you could, depending on what happens with Penn State, you could possibly be playing for the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, or at least have a chance at the playoffs.
Yeah, no, for sure. You'll be so you beat Indiana, right? You'll definitely be in top 25. You'll probably be around, I would say, the 20 mark, right? I would say 19-20 mark, okay? Then you go and lose to Ohio State in a close game, right? So then you probably go up, 21-22, right? UCLA drop down to about 19, right? USC, depending on where USC at, I would say you creep within like the 15-17 range. And then you go and beat Wisconsin and Iowa back to back. Now those compounding points, I think you're getting somewhere, I would say, between the 8 and the 12 mark.
Yeah.
And so now you're talking big business. You mess around and beat listen, if they mess around and beat Ohio State, let's say Oregon dominates Ohio State, right? Who does Ohio State have next week?
They have a bye week.
Oh my gosh.
Which does make it more interesting to watch the game, because if they get a personal foul in the second half, that could pull over the Nebraska game.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, let's hope there's some targeting calls back for sure. Nah, but if you get this done, this Indiana game is what you need, because you lose Indiana, you're going to lose Ohio State, right? But if you win Indiana, there's a possibility of Ohio State, you just gain some type of edge, some type of momentum. Let's hope that Ohio State loses to Oregon. Now there's a different conversation, right? And then obviously UCLA and SC. I want USC to win some more games. I hope USC gets it done against Penn State. It will kind of even some things out for the Big Ten run. But hey, I'm an optimistic guy. I would rather come on here and say Nebraska going to win it all than come on here and say Nebraska going to lose. Sorry, Bach.
That's my job.
Sorry, Bach.
That's
sorry,
my
Bach.
job to come in and do. We need a good guy and a bad guy. Good cop, bad cop.
I appreciate y'all watching, man. It was a fun show. We'll have Mikey Daniels coming back on. I'm sure he'll be on fire again.
Yeah, more disrespectful segments from Mikey Daniel, I'm sure. But that'll wrap it up for the locker room today. Thank you to Chancellor for stopping in. On the Block coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the Ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Herch Merch,